All right. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to the Dope Muslim Woman podcast. Welcome back to another episode here on the Dope Muslim Woman podcast. We are in season 4 of the Dope Muslim Woman podcast. We are in the Heartbreak to Dope podcast season. We are in the Radical Love series, and we are in the Dope Black Muslim Love mini series. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. As you come in, please go ahead and give your salam so that we know the barakah is here. We can exchange the greetings of peace. Wa alaikum salam, Kareen. The ask right now is for you guys to offer your salams and to share the podcast, inshallah ta'ala. But we have an amazing show here today. We have Purposeful Partnership. I've been talking about this like crazy. I've been so inspired. I've been reading passages from the Quran to really help me even understand the deeper meaning behind this episode. So I'm super excited about this content, you guys. I think you're going to really benefit. But I'm going to bring on my first couple, inshallah ta'ala. I'm going to introduce them now. So we can go ahead and bring them onto the live, and I'll officially introduce them. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Welcome, you guys. Welcome to the Dope Muslim Woman podcast. I'm glad to have you here.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you for being here. Wa alaikum salam to all the audience members giving your salams. It's good to see all you guys returning. So let me go ahead and introduce. First, I wanted to start with my dear sister. She was born in Columbus, Ohio. She's a daughter of Emil and Vicky Bashir. She comes from a family of entrepreneurs and has always desired to follow in those footsteps. She is a graduate of Muhammad Schools of Atlanta. I didn't know that. Received a bachelor's in computer science from Smith College. She currently resides in Columbus with her amazing husband and their 4 children. Alhamdulillah. I would like to welcome Sister Intisar Bashir to the show. Assalamu alaikum, dear sister.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Alhamdulillah. And now I want to introduce my brother. He's a returning contributor to the platform. He's a native of Detroit, Michigan. He currently resides in Columbus, Ohio with his beautiful wife and children. He is the 5th child of Rafiq and Nafisa Mahdi. He's an assistant imam at the local mosque and served in this role for 8 years. He's also a graduate of Elliott Glass Training Academy and received a bachelor's in biology from Wayne State University. I would like to officially welcome Brother Rashid Mahdi back to the show. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you for having me again.
Alhamdulillah. And as most of you guys know or may not know, this dope, amazing couple is they're the owners of an amazing company, which is pretty well known, especially in the Black community, Browndages. And that is a brainchild of the husband and wife duo. Once they realized that bandages were supposed to be flesh tone and noticed none of the bandages they purchased in stores matched the skin of anyone in their family, they decided to launch Browndages. Their businesses can be found on all platforms at Browndages or www.browndages.com. This is a product that I personally use because it really allows my daughters to feel empowered when they put a band when they have a boo-boo or they got hurt. They get to put the bandage on and feel that it matches their skin tone. And then there's really inspirational images that they have on their bandages. So thank you. I'm super humbled to have you guys both on the show.
Alhamdulillah. Thanks for having us.
Alhamdulillah. So I wanted to get right into this dialogue. I wanted to jump right in. We're talking about purposeful partnership. So we're talking about taking it a step further. I was discussing this with our dear couple before they came on the live, and that was just the aspect of what actually is needed at this point in time for Black couples to really actually restore what was taken from us, what was stripped from us, and what was denied to us as our ancestors came here on ships and shackles here, and our marriages and the institution of marriage was attacked. But I wanted to just ask and start first at the beginning. You know, where did you guys meet? Why did you guys decide to get married? Like, what's the story?
Alhamdulillah, we've been married for 15 years. We met actually in elementary school. I'm a native of Columbus, Ohio. He's a native of Detroit, Michigan. Around, I think, 1st grade, my mother took me and my older brother down to Michigan to attend the Islamic school there because my parents have always been they see the advantage of their children attending Islamic school. So once ours stopped, closed here in Columbus, we did like public school for a year or two, and they was like, And so Detroit was the closest one. And so my mom picked up and moved, and during the week we would live in Detroit, and on the weekends we'd come back home because my dad is an entrepreneur, so he had a business here that he was running, and he couldn't, pick up and move like that. So that's how I met Rashid and his family, probably back in, I don't know, it was first or second grade for me. So I've known him since then, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, she's been stalking me ever since, alhamdulillah. So I mean,
there wasn't another way around, brother.
But to add on to our story, so when I got to a point where you're a little bit older in college, about to graduate, and it came to a point where I was ready for marriage. And at this point in time, I don't think we've seen each other. It's probably been 4 or 5 years since we've seen each other. I'm good friends with her brother. So normally at least a weekend out the year, I would go down to Atlanta, spend time with her brother and some other friends down there. But again, it was about 4 or 5 years since we've seen each other, and I got to the point where it's like, all right, ready for marriage. So we have a mutual friend in Atlanta that I called her. Shout out to Tawhida. And I was like, where's Kyra at? Like, what is she doing? And she gave me her number, put a little bit of game on her. Alhamdulillah, yada, yada, yada. We've been married for 15 years. So.
MashaAllah. SubhanAllah. So that's a really beautiful story. I'm wondering at what point, because I know, Intisar, you mentioned that you come from a family of entrepreneurs, but I want to know individually, at what point did you guys understand what your purpose was? Understand that you were intended to create an impact or make a change within our community. When did that realization occur for you guys individually?
For me, like I said, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My father, my grandmothers on both sides, my aunts on both sides. So it's always been a desire of mine to have a business. So I think from day one, like we always kicked ideas back and forth. Like, oh, what about this? What about that? And alhamdulillah, like Groundages is the one, or I should say it's like the second thing that stuck, because I'm not sure if you're aware, but Rashid is a 3-time children's book author. And so that was our first venture. Wow. All of his books are available on our website as well.
Okay.
Nice plug.
Nice plug, right? Yeah, so that was our first thing. And it's like I said, we've always kicked around ideas. The books were the first thing. He wrote his first book, I don't know, maybe 7-8 years ago, and he just held on to it for a long time. And I don't know, like one day we just were like, let's do this. So alhamdulillah, we found a Muslim sister to illustrate it, and she put it together, and then we published it. And then we were like, okay, we can do this business kind of thing. So we just started back kicking ideas, and Groundages is what like spoke to us at the time, and it really stuck, and we were able to move it forward and make it a business.
Wow, subhanAllah. So I want to make sure I'm understanding this correct, dear sister. So are you saying that, Brother Rashid, you had a passion or a desire, you began to write. Sister Insar, you truly believed in what he was doing. You went into business with him. Y'all both published it. It became your first business as a couple, even though he was the one that wrote the books and it was sort of his idea first. Am I understanding that?
Yes, yes, definitely. I always supported his idea. Like to this day, I always feel that he'll deny it, but I believe he has a way with words. He's very good with his words. He's very
that game.
Whatever. He's very, I don't know. He has a gift of words. He really does. And so like when he wrote this book, I was like, no, but for real, that's kind of good. And you know what I mean? So let's do this. It took longer than we expected because it's not as easy as we thought it would be to find an illustrator. Like we went through a couple renditions, but alhamdulillah, the one that we ended up with, it's beautiful. Like when we first saw it, like I was like, oh my goodness, this is real. And it was just really nice. The sister did an amazing job. She was wonderful to work with. Shout out to Rashida Mendez. She's amazing. She's also our graphic designer for Groundages. So if y'all need any kind of graphic design work, like hit up our sister 19 the agency. She's amazing to work with.
And I think that speaks to the point of making sure that we continue to, like from an economical standpoint, build up each other. because we do have Muslim everything. So it's important for us to, have those relationships, and then, support them. They support you, and hopefully we have the finances in the community where we can actually really start to make a difference.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Brother Rashid, I wanted to ask you as a man, because I hear this often when it comes to support and them wanting support from their spouses. What did it feel like, or what did it do for you to have your wife really believe in your vision, not only that, really invest in it, walk right there with you when it came to your first endeavor? What did that mean to you?
It's definitely a blessing. I think most people, they have ideas in their heads that they think that it makes sense to them. It's a good idea to them. But when you have someone that is, close to you, and the relationship that we have with one another, like, we're going to tell each other the truth regardless. So when you have a person that's telling you to, push on, it's a good idea, do it. It makes it a lot easier to actually, jump, to try to do it, and put forth the effort to try to make your dream come to fruition, so to speak. So it's one of her amazing qualities. She's always being extremely supportive of me. I try my best to be supportive of her as well. So it's just I think it's one of the beautiful things about our relationships that allows us to continue to have a healthy relationship, I would say.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Okay, so I want to know a little bit about the challenges, because when I think about having a business, especially a successful one, alhamdulillah, like Browndage's, a well-known one that constantly have to invest and pour so much in. What are some of the challenges as it relates to kind of having a business with your spouse, your partner, your lover?
It's not too many challenges that we have run into. Like the hardest thing is, and our children are just now like maybe 2 weeks ago telling us, like, can we just do something and it don't have nothing to do with Browndage's? And I'm like, like, Browndage's feed you, boo. But it's just like finding time to separate like Browndage's and then just like everyday life, because we can be at the dinner table and shooting ideas back and forth, and they like, I never really gave it too much thought. I don't know if he has, but like I said, like 2 weeks ago, like our oldest was like, one weekend, because we have a weekend that doesn't have anything to do with Browndage's, and I was like, tell me how you really feel, sis. Like it was a surprise, and so I think that's where we're at right now, trying to make sure that we spend enough time working on the business, but also enough time just us, and also with the kids, and not necessarily blending it all together all the time. So I think that's one challenge that we're working on as we speak, really.
Trying to find a balance. Yeah. SubhanAllah. What does it take for Black families to work on this sort of rebuilding our economic structure, really putting things back in place where we're focused on economics? What does it take for us to really hone into that as a people?
It takes support from one another, and having a good community that will back you. It takes connections. So even with us in Browndage's, we have to make sure that we shout out like Sharif Abdul Malik, my brother-in-law, with his company We Buy Black, and also Brother Malik with True Detergent, because Brother Malik has been extremely instrumental in our brand. Like, he's the connection. That's how we got our connections. And not only that, he's been doing that with other entrepreneurs as well. So it's making sure you have someone in the community that is selfless, that is willing to help you, and making sure that you have a community around you that's willing to support you. Because there will be times when you may start to second guess yourself, but having the individuals or having people around you that continue to push you on, to continue to shout you out, I mean, that's huge. It's that's extremely huge. Even a share, when a person shares something on Facebook or Instagram, because when we were at our highest peak, I think we had a friend, Nafisa. Shout out to Nafisa. She posted something, and I think it got like 3,000 different shares. So you just never know. So it's just, having that support from the community. I think that's one of the biggest things that we can do to try to, uplift the community and put more and be more conscious about making sure that we are giving back.
That you're giving back. Yeah. I mean, has it been difficult to stay the course as it relates to staying with the business, despite maybe economic challenges, despite community challenges, but despite those things and normal things that come with developing a business? Has it been difficult to stay the course?
I don't think so, because like you said, alhamdulillah, so many people have been so supportive of our business, down to a simple share, down to like not even people that we physically know, but just like the random customers that come across our business. Like, it's amazing that the amount of alerts that I get on my phone like weekly of just somebody like in Sweden, like literally in Sweden, sharing our business. And it's just like that support is what keeps us going and letting us know that what we're producing, our brand, our products are needed, from, all the way from here in Columbus, Ohio to Sweden to Belgium. Like, we ship product to Saudi Arabia before. And it's just like, it's amazing the amount of support that we get. And that is what keeps us going, really. Like that it's yeah.
But it's not easy. I mean, it takes money to make money, number one. And you have to make sure you put yourself in a position where you can, take the leap. And having people around you is great. So, I mean, we've been fortunate. Our business, it doesn't, we're a 2-person business, essentially. But even again, when we were extremely busy, we were so fortunate to have people in our immediate, like, close friends. They came down from Columbus or up from Detroit to help us fulfill orders. So
shout out to Nafisa and her family. They came and packed orders with us, her and her mother. It was amazing.
So yeah, it's just us, bigging up one another. Shout out to their company as well. Yeah. So it's we gotta support each other, and we gotta be willing to.
Absolutely. I'm wondering, because I think, mashallah, like subhanallah, like for those of us who are purposeful and are dedicated to this mission of rebuilding our their families first and foremost, and in rebuilding our communities, it's beautiful, but it does come with a set of challenges, because the reality is that we have been targeted as a people, especially as it relates to this idea of there can only be one of us, right? This idea that, sometimes survival mode. And so sometimes when we get challenged as a people, or our people sometimes still are struggling as it relates to being able to celebrate each other's success in some spaces. Have you had to navigate that at all? Have you had to do extra things to protect not only your union, your business, as it relates to just the reality of like hasad, envy, jealousy, things like that comes with the territory of, being an example, kind of leading away in some regards?
We put our faith in God, to be honest with you, and we do it. I think in anything that we do, if you want to be successful, there will be some sacrifices. And I think our generation sometimes forget that. When we think of success, we think that it is supposed to be immediate. But we were fortunate, like we came from parents who they sacrificed the financial side of things to make sure that we had an Islamic foundation, so to speak. And although we are still, say, young in this whole, this Islamic experience, we have to realize that, if we want to be successful, whether it's, financially, religiously, like it's going to be sacrifices will have to be made. So our parents made the sacrifices again to make sure that we had this great foundation. And I think it's time for us to try to make some sacrifices as well to make sure that we continue to big up the community and, have the financial backing. That's why, inshallah, if we ever get to the point where we can get, like, my dream job right now is to be a philanthropist. Like, I want to give back. So if we ever get to that point, like the Muslim community gonna be good,
Right.
inshallah. So make sure y'all buy a couple products. We got a few things out there, but we give it back. That's I think that's it's definitely a trait of her. She's always willing to support other companies, and that's something that I feel passionate about as well. So just making it's going to be a sacrifice, but sacrifices come with rewards, so to speak.
That's absolutely beautiful. I appreciate you guys sharing that, and just the focus in on the mission, the purpose, aligning with what is positive and just moving forward. Mashallah, may Allah bless you guys. All right, you guys. So this part is a little bit fun. We kind of move into to segue into debunking a few myths around marriage, around partnership. And so how it basically works is I'll make a statement, and you both individually will say whether you agree or disagree, and you just give context as to your why as it relates to marriage. So you guys ready?
Yes.
Okay, alhamdulillah. So if it's okay, I'm going to start with you, Sister Intisar. The first comment is Black women are less likely to marry statistically due to concerns with economic stability amongst Black men.
And you want me to say whether I believe that's true or false?
Yes, ma'am.
I would say false, just because that's not my experience or my circle of friends' experience. But again, I've been out the game for 15 years. I don't know what's going on right now, but I would say it's false. That was not and I got married at 23. So it's like, that was not even on my radar. You know, we were both fresh out of college. And then the majority of my friends right now were in the similar time in their lives. So that was not the case for us. So I would say false.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Brother Rashid, what do you think?
I would say it's false as well. I mean, it could be some truth in it, but I think, especially where we both came from, like we saw our parents, like I know my parents for a fact, they made sacrifices. My father worked good jobs. He worked at Ford. He worked at Northwest Airlines, Delta, 2 jobs. And I know for a fact that if he wanted to, we could have been set financially. My mother would have been set financially, but he made the sacrifice where I want to make sure that my 7 kids all go to private schools at the same time. So so he was willing to make that sacrifice, and my mother was willing to accept the sacrifice because she understood how important it was. So I mean, I don't think the economic. I think it's not true. But I mean,
there's some experiences out there. All right, God, thank you. Creating a business together increases the chances of love and happiness in a marriage. What say you, Intisar? Does it increase the love and happiness creating a business together as a couple?
I mean, if y'all successful. I mean, if you're not, I don't know. It can cause a couple problems. I don't know. As long as you can separate the two, because it has to be a little bit of separation. It's like I said, we working on that part. We're not all the way there yet.
Somebody like to keep on having babies.
Huh?
Somebody, right? Exactly. That's not how that one works. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with it personally.
Okay.
If you got a good relationship, if you have a business together, y'all gonna be good. If your relationship before the business is a little rocky, the business will probably make it a little bit more rockier. So I mean, it's just
as long as you have a good foundation, I think you can make it happen. Alhamdulillah, we were married 12 years before we started a bit like Browndages together. So I think we had like enough of a foundation to go through, the ins and outs of entrepreneurship, the ups and downs, the highs and the lows, and the all of it. So alhamdulillah.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. All right, couples tend to be happier when they are free to pursue their individual interests and passions while married.
I would say true. I think that's true. Yeah. You definitely have to have something mutual, but having something to yourself, like that allows you to, go off, get a breath of fresh air, and then come back and have together mutual, stuff like that. But I definitely think that's true.
Yeah, it's definitely it's good to have your own interest in something that, and it may not be a business, but it could be anything. It could be like I go back to Detroit all the time, or there you go, football on Sundays. That's my day. That's my day.
I could care less about that.
Right.
It helps mentally, definitely.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khairan. Well, thank you guys so much. It was very, very insightful to hear your wisdom as it relates to purposeful partnership, having a partner in which you're aligned with, as far as your purpose and that you're having a business with. I want Malika, inshallah, if you could drop again Browndish's information. So I want to make sure as a community that we answer the call which they put out, which is to go ahead and support this brand. It's our responsibility as a community to keep the money within the community and to support people who have a vision and who are doing the work to combat what we've been targeted, how we've been targeted economically as a community. So go ahead there right now, inshallah, or go share it, support and buy and purchase an item from their website, support their brand, spread the word, inshallah ta'ala, and may Allah continuously make you guys both successful in all of your endeavors. Ameen. Thank you guys for being on the show. Inshallah, I'll connect with you guys next time.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you for having us.
All right, alhamdulillah. That was amazing. I was so inspired. I feel all warm and fuzzy inside. I can see, mashallah, my producer in the background. She's like, I had such a big smile. But okay, alhamdulillah. So we have our next dope, amazing couple coming on to the show. We can go ahead and add them into the stream, and I'll go ahead and introduce. Oh, salaam alaikum. I think you're mute, beloved.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How you guys doing?
Alhamdulillah, how are you?
Okay, I see. Wait, I'm good. Alhamdulillah, but I'm like, can we let's take a moment for a second because y'all look real coordinated. What's going on?
Right.
What's up? Let me see what's going on. We have the brand there. We got
our. I'm all messed up because of the left, right. Yeah, our Mecca Institute shirts.
That's official. I like it. MashaAllah. All right. Well, we're gonna get right into it. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce this dope couple. Most of us, MashaAllah, we're privy to knowing them in the community. All right. So this brother and sister, they've been in Atlanta area educators for over 15 years. Our dear brother here, he holds a Bachelor of Science from Morehouse and a master's from Mercer University and an EDS from the University of Georgia. Our dear sister, she holds a BSW and a master's from Georgia State University. They lived and taught in Saudi Arabia. They currently reside in the Atlanta area. They've been married for 20 years. I didn't even know that. Gosh, 20 years and have 10 children and 1 grandchild. They started an amazing institute called Mecca International Institute, and officially in 2015 after hosting a summer camp. They've been facilitating college tours, Arabic intensive, summer camps, fitness club, Earth Rangers, hijama, which is, the Sunnah practice there, which I'm sure maybe they'll explain a little bit. Recently, they started a K-12 virtual school. Mecca International Institute just opened its first brick and mortar building in Lilburn last Saturday, October 9th. So congratulations to you guys. I would like you to officially welcome Sister Rochelle and Brother Tarek to the Dope Muslim Woman podcast.
Thank you.
MashaAllah. That was a lot, subhanAllah. But thank you guys so much for being here. And thank you for being willing to have this discussion and talk about purposeful partnership. When I was thinking about this topic, I was thinking about couples that came to mind who I always remember had some alignment in what they were doing. And you guys were the ones who came to mind. So I wanted to first just kind of start in the beginning. You guys met in college, right?
That's correct.
So did you guys meet? Did you guys have like a mutual sort of interest in like your field when you met, or was it just an attraction? So how to treat Brother Tar? What was up?
You want me to tell the story? You want me to tell the story?
What drew you to Rochelle? Yeah.
I'll keep them honest.
Okay. Thank you, sis.
So basically, this was my sophomore year, her freshman year. And so, I was at Morehouse College, all male school.
Mm-hmm.
And, after so much maleness, I was like, I got to kind of spread my wings a little bit, just see something a little bit different. And so what I ended up doing was registering, I actually changed my major. I changed my major to computer science. I was a biology major. So I changed my major to computer science, and I used that as an opportunity to take some classes over at Clark Atlanta. And so while I was registering my classes at Clark Atlanta, my wife was in line registering also. So the rest is history.
I see. So what happened, Rochelle? Did he come and try to spit some game, or was it just kind of like a natural me? Like, what's
so funny? So I met him like the first, second week of school. You know, my mom had just dropped me off at college. You know, and so we were waiting in line. His best friend, like he was, you know, being friendly, because I know the previous couple was talking about how her husband is really good with words. He's really good with words as well. And so he goes in, and you know, I think he was ahead of me in line. He has his friend to speak to me until he gets out of the his meeting with the to get registered for classes. And I'm not good with math. We ended up studying, and you know, just you know, he introduced me. I wasn't a Muslim when I had met him, and so he introduced me to Islam. We started going to the MSAs. The AUC MSA was amazing. Anyone who I know a lot of MSAs are kind of weak these days, but the AUC MSA, you know, they were having Super Bowl parties. They, you know, met every Friday. They had dinner. You know, Ramadan was. I think that experience with being a part of the AUC MSA really helped me to have a good foundation for my Islam.
Okay, subhanallah, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so when did you guys decide, or when did you both individually understand that you guys had some alignment with your purpose? Because I know you guys are both educators. At what point was that early on in the relationship, or did you? Because I know, Brother Tarek, you mentioned your major started off a little bit different. So when did you guys understand that you guys kind of had the same purpose, same kind of vision?
So, you know, my background is definitely science, and that's where the hijama comes in, because, you know, I've always wanted to be a doctor, health professional. I just have my qualms with medicine, pharmaceutical drugs. So being that there aren't a lot of alternative options to medicine in the States, I picked up education, and I just kind of figured out that, you know, look, I'll just teach science until I find an avenue to actually practice medicine. Okay. And, you know, I was planning to go into acupuncture. I looked into being a naturopathic doctor, many different things. And then I eventually, very recently, found my way into hijama. And so along that journey, as I mentioned, I was a teacher, and I'm still a teacher now. So I think probably the common denominator that my wife and I share is that we are both lifelong learners. We both like studying. You know, one of the things I always mention to her about is how she's always abreast of current events. You know, so she's a well-read individual. And so that's kind of where we connect, is we're both students. Even though we're adults, we're both very studious individuals.
Beautiful. And so, Rochelle, when did you guys birth the idea? Did you birth it together to have the Institute, Mecca International?
So one of the things that about us and our family is that we try to do things that are practical, you know, that make sense for the way that we live our lives and how, you know, we basically develop our family. And so, you know, you know, we want our kids to be able to, you know, have a good grounding and foundation for colleges. Let's go ahead and offer this to the community. You know, we like to farm. You know, we want to go ahead and have organic fruits and vegetables. We want to, you know, learn about animal husbandry and, you know, share it with our children. Let's, you know, how about we go ahead and open it up to the broader community. And so with the inception of Mecca International Institute, I remember, well, you know, we started off as a summer camp, and we, you know, we have a nice sized family, and putting them all into summer camp is a whopper, you know. But we always, you know, like that's your kids sitting at home all summer watching TV, you know, playing video games is just not, it's unheard of in the Abdul Malik household. Okay. And so we went ahead and decided, let's go ahead and create a program. Like I this is, this particular part of our business is really what I'm really passionate about, is like the social programs and offering things of that nature. And so with starting the summer camp, it's, let's go ahead and get them together. Let's do something really, engaging. Let's make it themed. And so we started off with the summer camp, and it's just slowly developed. We want to go ahead and learn Arabic. Let's go ahead and do an Arabic intensive and open it up to the community. We want to, what else? The hijama. The hijama started off, we have kids that have sickle cell anemia. And so, hijama is excellent for that. Because
can I ask a quick question about that, Rochelle? Because your husband just mentioned that was his sort of passion because of his background and what he wanted to do. But then you're owning it. So did he have to convince you, or is that just something you just saw the benefit in? And because I just see how you guys individually may have an interest, but then you guys just align and jump on board with each other.
Right. So mashallah, it's always a little give and take, but and I always say that we do a lot of things that are practical. And so with the hijama, it was, he is able to do he started off doing it on the children. And we actually, the first time we did it, we was in Saudi Arabia. We went ahead and we was in, it wasn't Hajj, we might've went on Umrah, and we was in Mecca and we had it done. And then, we learned about the benefits of it, how it's great for the people who have, especially for people with blood disorders. And so because he is unable to do it on himself, I had to learn to do it.
Got it.
And so, I think a lot of times with couples, they just want to kind of like buck the system. I'm not going to do it because he don't want me to do it. And he's telling me it makes sense. Why have you go out and pay and go to someone else when this is, a great, sunnah to learn and to practice and to help out. If you're down, I can do it. But how it turned into something that we did business wise was that he was offering it to the brothers. And the brothers, they were getting it. And then there was like the wives were like, well, I want it. And then sisters were like, well, hey, I want it, but I don't want, Brother Tariq to do it, And so that's how I kind of slipped in there. It was he has the love and the passion and the background with. If anyone sits and has a wellness consultation with him, they're gonna be like, wow, because he really dedicates a large portion of his spare time into researching about health and wellness. So when you say, oh, this is what's wrong with me, he'll ask you questions that you never even thought were related to your different ailments. So he has the passion and the background, and I'm the doer. Like if they'll talk to him and he'll say, okay, Rochelle, you need to go ahead and do the cups here and do the cups there. And if they ask you any questions, this is what you need to go ahead and tell them. So
it's a whole balance. It's
that
relationship.
Yeah.
So you guys balance each other out. Wow, subhanallah. I have a question. I'm going to ask you first, Brother Tariq. It's relative to our community, our condition as it relates to marriage. You guys been married for 20 years. And not only that, you guys have mashallah, you guys see needs in the community and you offer it, right? What does it take for young Black men or Black men who are aiming to be focused and good husbands? What type of focus and discipline does it take in order to be able to move your family in a direction of being purposeful, being in a direction of restoring and rebuilding their community, offering solutions to the community? What does it take for a husband to lead in that regard?
I believe, since this is kind of Muslims here, majority, we definitely believe in God, Allah. And so I definitely think that purpose is divine. So, I believe that the stronger your spiritual connection, the stronger the force you will have for your purpose in life. I think that, Allah will guide you exactly as to what you are supposed to be doing. And there will be a lot of challenges along that path to reinforce that this is what you're supposed to be doing. So sometimes people think that the challenges kind of, are to steer you away, but really is to solidify you as to whether or not this is something you're supposed to be doing.
Oh, Brother Tark, that's so deep. If you don't mind, I want to lean into that just a little bit more.
Sure.
When you said the challenges that sort of come in the way of you walking in alignment with your purpose, that's the indicator that this is what you're supposed to be doing.
That's right.
How does a person get that sort of perspective or understanding when these challenges occur?
So that's that spirituality. So the spirituality, we know the famous hadith that Allah tests those whom he loves, and the prophets were tested the most. So, this is kind of, if you're in line with that, then that, as you get stronger and stronger, Allah is going to put stronger and stronger weights for you to lift.
SubhanAllah, tabarakallah, jazakallah. Jazakallah khairan for that. Sister Rochelle, I wanted to ask you, as a woman, as a wife, just thinking about all the roles that we play, as mothers, as a wife, as a leader, but then not only are you a helpmate to your husband, you're creating, constantly. How does a Muslim woman, first of all, not lose her mind? How does she stay in alignment? How does she really give honor to all these roles? Like, how is it to be done, Rochelle?
I don't know.
You're doing it.
No. So, one thing about us is that we are like polar opposites. We are like the absolute opposite. Cats and dogs. When he wants to go left, I want to go right. He wants, chocolate. I want vanilla. So with that, what happens is that a lot of times when I feel, just like I can't move on anymore, I'm done. He's, you can do this. He'll, bring some type of Islamic remembrance, or he'll say, you need a break, and the same thing happens with him when he is like, Rochelle, I don't know what I'm gonna do, or I'm tired. I just want to quit. Even though our being opposites, can cause us to disagree, it also gives us a level of support when one is down, the other's up. As far as the roles with hats, we're still figuring that out, because we roll with the punches is what it really happens around here. Yeah, we roll with the punches. So and it's a lot of punches sometimes. So we just gotta we gotta take that impact, and we gotta keep moving. We have to stay focused. And a lot of times we can't really be too consumed with like what's going on around us. We can't look left and look right. We have to think about what does Allah want me to be doing? What's the best? And that's one of the things that we try to instill in our kids is, you're getting upset or you don't know what you want to do in life. Well, look at the prophets, look at his wives, what are these, because life changes, people changes, time changes. But, the examples that we have, the Quran, it never changes. And so a lot of times, even though it might sound real superficial sometimes, like, oh, she's just so high and mighty, this really I have to take my mind off of what's going around me, and I have to stay focused on something that I know is solid, and this is just what it is.
Yeah, subhanAllah. What are some tips you can offer for to the community for couples to stay committed, to stay with it? And because you guys have done so many different things. I'm sure there's been successes, there's been challenges, there's been ups and downs throughout each endeavor. How do you stay committed to your purpose, like Brother Tarek mentioned, to each other? What are some of the tips that you can offer?
So, I actually am very highly interested in what makes successful relationships.
Okay.
And even my brother friends, I'm constantly always asking them, what happened in this situation? What's going on in this situation? What happened? So I'm getting all this information from my brothers, some of them who have been divorced, some of them who have longer marriages than mine, some of them have shorter marriages than mine. And so one of the things that comes up pretty regularly is this concept of soulmates. You know,
okay,
that sometimes two people, they just are meant for each other, you know. And that's very difficult to explain, but sometimes two people, they are just meant for each other. You know, they were just, and when they meet each other, they put each other's soul at peace, you know, almost like how a mother would feel if she lost her child. And when she gets reconnected with that child, she's just overwhelmed. That doesn't mean that she's not going to spank that child because he does something wrong. It doesn't mean that child's not going to call mom bad names. There's going to be some fighting along the way, but nonetheless, that connection is what we're after. And some marriages, they just don't have the connection, you know, like they're just very loose marriages. You know, they're just not really connected. You know, it may be some language barriers, maybe the jokes that they tell aren't funny, the foods they cook they don't like whatever the connection is, they're just not there. And so you know, one of the things that I've noticed about marriages that seem to work is that they just have that very, very strong connection. And in addition to that, they respect each other's way of fighting. And that's
say that
really,
again.
really,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
Say that again.
they respect each other's way of fighting. And that's actually really, really big because people fight differently.
Yeah.
So you might walk into my house and see me and my wife fighting, and you're like, oh man, it's about they about to get a divorce, but we understand each other's fighting. The same way that brothers and sisters understand each other's fighting. Like a true brother and sister, they will have it out. But then the next day, they back cool, you know, or maybe the next week or so. So I think that's really, really important. People call it love languages, but it's fight language also. Like you have to know each other's love language, but you have to also know each other's fight language.
Dang, I never heard that, Brother Tark, but that's really very, I think, dead on because, I mean, really, yeah. I mean, because how many of us are challenged because we are not meeting each other in terms of conflict, right? You know, how many of us there's so many breakdowns as it relates to us just not being able to, you know, handle conflict. So I really appreciate that. That was very insightful. Rochelle, what do you think it takes for as women? What tips would you offer Muslim women or young Muslim wives as it relates to just staying committed? Because it could be tough out here, sis. These brothers, they be a trip.
It's tough in here too.
All right now. So you try to understand the way y'all fight. Now go ahead, Rochelle.
Right. So you know, it's like I think that, you know, like from one of the things I think when you decide to get married, you have to think, okay, I'm marrying this person, I'm marrying this man, and this man is going to, you know, be my leader, and he's going to be making he's going to have the final say in a lot of decisions that are going to be made. So I need to make sure that I trust this person. I need to make sure that when I'm upset and I, you know, really am at my end, that I'm still going to be okay with whatever, you know, decisions that he makes. You know, and that doesn't make me any less of a person. That doesn't make me this empowered, you know, disenfranchised woman. That this is just what it is. And I think a lot of people go into marriage thinking, okay, you know, I'm mad at him. I don't have nothing to do with him no more. You know, he's, you know, doing or saying things I don't agree with. But when you first went into it, did you not, you know, consider this? Did y'all not have, you know, talk about these things before you sat down? And I know another thing, you ever seen that little cartoon where it's got the butterfly and the guy says, oh, you've changed.
Yeah.
You know, being married for a long time, people do change. We've been married since I was 18 years old when I got married.
Wow.
I was like 2 months before I turned 19. And so we've been married for a long time. We've grown up together.
Right.
You know, so you got a 19-year-old telling you what to do. And you know, women mature faster than men. So I'm just saying, you gotta be real practical. You gotta be understanding. You gotta realize that, like, this is, you know, you get married, y'all are family now. You don't divorce your family. You don't break up your family. You know, you gotta swallow your pride a whole lot. And so You know, I just think, and you got to stay grounded. Like, what, you know, if I decide that this is not going to work, is that worse than me trying to fight through it and staying together?
Wow. So you literally have to think about that, weigh those two.
You do, you know. Yeah. So and you know, at the end of the day, he's a good guy. You know, I know that he wants what's best. I know that he loves Allah, and he, you know, that's, I think that this man right here, he tries to, you know, refer to the sunnah as much as he can, and as much as I can bear, he will go ahead and try, you know. So I you know, I can't get mad with that. Like, well, how am I going to go in front of Allah and say, you know what, I didn't like him because he told me to use mishwak to brush my teeth? You know what I'm saying? Like, how am I going to go in front of Allah and say, you know, he was trying to wake me up in the middle of the night to make tahajjud? You know, like, what type of person am I to get upset with that? Now, the package that it comes in, as my mom says, sometimes that might be a little different, but, you know, like, it might be hard to swallow, but I think that just, you got to be patient. You got to understand the other person's intentions, and you know, don't take everything so personal.
Yeah, best advice. It's interesting, Rochelle, you said that, because that was something a friend said to me recently, where she was saying, as women, we kind of sometimes have a tendency to overthink and taking so many things personal, but sometimes you just got to leave it right where it is, right on the surface. Just leave it right there. Save you a lot of time.
You'll still be mad, and he won't even be thinking about it.
Be done, like,
he'll be upset, and he'll be like, can you give me something to drink? And you'll be like, what? Right. You know, like, you just said this a couple of minutes ago. You've forgotten about us. It's still with me.
Right.
So, you know, right. And why keep you know, fighting over that? You know, it's not worth it. It's not worth the argument.
All right, you guys. So we're at this segue where you guys are going to debunk a few myths as it relates to marriage, partnership, entrepreneurship. So the way it works is that, you know, I make a statement, you say whether you agree or disagree, true or false, and then you give context as to why. So you guys will individually answer. Your answers do not have to align or be the same. All right. So my first one is economically successful Black men are more inclined to marry outside of the Black race.
You first, sister.
Oh,
Tarek, Brother Tarek, come on.
You know, I think that's more of a personality thing. I don't think that's the sole thing. I think that, you know, if you are a very, you know, I think sometimes men, and I don't want to be offensive, and please forgive me, Allah forgive me, but a lot of times when you have these, you know, I guess very charismatic, you know, I'm gonna do things my way, they're gonna want someone who's a bit, you know, maybe a little less bite. I'm just saying. And so with that, sometimes I think that's, you know, I'm gonna be gone for a week. When I come home, I really don't want to have you. I don't want you to say anything to, you know, we just going to. So I think that I think that might be it, but I don't think that that's it across the board. You know what I mean? I think that
it has to do with economics.
That's oftentimes what it is. And I think that you have, you know, like these brothers, the couple that just came in, I'm amazed at what, you know, their enterprise that they have. But, you know, you do have a lot of African-American men who love their African-American sisters. I mean, if you don't love them, then you're basically hating yourself, because that's your mom, that's your sister, that's your grandma, that's your auntie. So, you know.
You know, I would like to add a little bit of a different insight. Just speaking to the single women that I know, okay, just the single women that I know, a lot of them don't really want to come into a relationship and be like a partner. Like, okay, you coming with this, I'm coming with this. You know, we're gonna build stronger. A lot of the Muslim single women that I know come into the relationship like, you the man, you got to handle this. And so I think, you know, as my wife has kind of alluded to, if that package also comes with some baggage, then, you know, a brother may say, well, look, this sister here from this other race, she might not be contributing business wise, but she don't have all the baggage either. So that package, for many, it may turn out to be, a easier package to deal with.
Okay. Woo, we're getting juicy. All right. Okay. So that leads me to my next statement. Nowadays, both men and women need to contribute financially to the household in order for the union to withstand the economic pressures of today's time.
Yeah. And so that kind of piggybacks on what I was just saying, So again, like when I look at the single sisters, just the ones that I know, I don't know a lot, but just the ones that I know, the mentality that, how about we take it to another picture? So when you look at the non-Muslim single sisters, they're very much, we building, like you doing that? Okay, yeah, for sure. I'm coming with this, And I think that financial partnership, it appears as if they get it a little better. For Muslims, it appears as if for the single Muslim sisters, they either already have their own thing and they're very stuck on, this is my thing, this is my baby, I'm going to nurture this, I don't need you getting in the way, you can go over there and do this is mine, But as far as, coming together and really trying to create a baby, a business baby, I just don't see it enough amongst Muslims. I don't see it enough. And so I think the trickle effect of that is that you get a lot of separation financially. You get a lot of his money is his money, my money is my money. We kind of just make it work. And that may pose some problems as well, but when you have kind of when you can have a joint business.
I'm looking at Sakina's comment. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry, we listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, but when you have kind of like a joint business that you're kind of building together, it helps with the finances, but even more so, it helps with the relationship as well.
So let me just make sure I understand. So are you saying that you do feel though, in order for a union to work, both should come in with a mindset of contributing financially? Is that what I'm hearing, Brother Tarek?
I think that so I think in this day and age, yes, I think that the women who come into the picture, they should, you have different relationships. So you have one relationship where you have some men, they got it, right? They come to the plate and they saying, look, I got my house, I got my car, and I have enough to share. I have enough to create this nest for you, right? The nest has already been built for you. You can come on in, lay your eggs if you like, whatever you want to do, right? I can invite you in. But I don't think that's the majority of the situations. I think that's the minority. And I think a lot of couples struggle because they think that is the majority. And that's really just a minority situation. I think the majority situation is that we are ex-slaves. I think that we suffer financially. I think we suffer from what I call family deficit disorder. I think we have a lot of broken homes. And I think that trickles over into financial difficulty.
So, okay. And I know your segment is ending, but of course, we're always when it gets juicy. So Sister Betsy said a lot of brothers have it in the Ummah where they want sisters that are frugal and fit.
And I understand that, because so we had a conversation about this. I in 1 week, I had like 3 brothers to tell me how they wanted women that were like financially stable. And it happened in like 1 week.
Okay.
And it like took me out
the bomb aesthetically too. Is that
right. The whole everything, right? So this happened in like 1 week. And then like so they were all strange comments. Like the first brother, he told me like, I want to get married, right? And I said, okay, I got a sister for you. So I introduced him to the sister, and he was like, how much money she make? And I was like, I don't really know. Like, she not really doing too much of this. He was like, nah, it ain't gonna work out.
Oh,
and I was kind of like,
I didn't know we was doing that. We doing
right.
that.
Listen, I mean, this is a brother who was close to me, right? It's a brother who was close to me. And so I was kind of like perplexed. I said, so, so like you want her to be kind of like working and stuff? He was like, oh yeah. I'm not gonna have no sister just coming, just using up all my stuff, just this, that, and the other. So I tried to hear him out, and I was like, okay, because I'm that type of person. I try to hear everybody out. So that was one situation. Then I had another brother And you know, he was like, he's looking for a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I said, all right. So I said, you know, what do you want to do? What's kind of like your purpose in life? He's like, I want to sell bean pies. I was like, okay, cool. I know a sister who make like the bomb bean pies. I can hook you up with her, you know. And so then like a couple of days later, I asked him, I said, brother, did you call the sister up and see if you can get the bean pie stuff? He was like, nah, you know, I'm okay. And I was like, so you got a job? And keep in mind, he's not working and he's married, right? So I was like, so did you get something? He was like, nah, I'm okay. You know, my wife been holding me down this long. So, you know, I think I can go a little bit longer. And so both of these kind, and there was another situation I'm not even going to bring on the show because
I can't take no more.
Right. So
I got my capacity over here.
So what I ended up doing is I asked a sister because I was perplexed on it. I said, I asked his sister. I said, so, you know, these brothers are saying they want a Khadijah. That's the language they use. They say, I want a Khadijah, somebody who she holding her own. She gonna support me, you know. So I asked his sister. I said, so when you hear that these brothers are looking for a Khadijah, like, what does that mean to you as an elderly sister? What does that mean to you? And she basically broke it down. She was like that, you know, for a woman to give her wealth to a man, that's very honorable. But that should not be the default. You know, it should not be what sustains you all. You know, the man's wealth, it's obligatory that the man's wealth be used for the maintenance. And if he needs his wife's wealth, then it should be an open request. It should be understood that it's sadaqah. You know, these type of things should be put in place. So what I think ends up happening from all of this, I think that, you know, I think a lot of things get lost in language is what I think happens. I think sometimes the way the brothers explain it, they explain it in a way that the sisters don't really, I'm not going to say they don't understand it, but maybe they're just, it's lost in the language. I think really what it comes down to, I think that some of these men that are struggling just simply want help, you know, and maybe they're too embarrassed to ask. Maybe, you know, I don't know, but I think that
are they doing their part though? When you said they need help, and I'm so sorry. I apologize to the next couple. I know we're a little bit late, but we're going to culminate this. I do want to just ask Rochelle really quickly, because you seem real neutral over here. What are your thoughts about this with this kind of new era and what's, because this is about our economic condition. Now, this is so important though, and I'm gonna bring in when our next couple, and you guys are gonna complete the conversation. But this is so important because this is about our economic condition. How are we gonna rebuild if we don't rebuild our mindsets? If we don't restructure the way we think about money and economics? Mm-hmm. But I want to know, Rochelle, what are some of your thoughts? Just chime in here.
Remember when I said that before you get married, you need to know what you're getting yourself into? that I think that's very important. You know, what are your ideas on finances? Because there's some sisters that are just fine with being on Section 8 and being number 2, 3, and 4. And the brother's okay with that. I think that if that works for you, then you go ahead, and that's you know, you like it. I'm not gonna say I love it, but that's what's going on in your household, and I'm not privy to talk about that. But I think that if you want to be in a relationship where, you know, you want him to be taking care of everything and you get to, you know, sit at home, then I think, honestly, I think that's culturally, that's something that needs to be talked about. You know, I think that, you know, different cultures have different ideas about how marriages should look, but I think that marriage contract needs to be, you know, really tight before you get married, and that needs to be talked about. I mean, because I'm not going to go ahead and sit here and down talk anybody else's relationship, because I know that my relationship is not perfect. But I think that when you go into a marriage, you need to go ahead and iron that out. Yeah. Because even when my daughter got married, you know, it was okay. So what, you know, what's the plan? You know, did y'all talk about this? Did you talk about that? How you gonna make decisions? Because when you come back to me a month, a year, 10 years from now, I'm gonna say, but when you married him, that's what y'all decided y'all was gonna do. You know, I can give you advice and I can try to help you through it, but I think that before you go in, you know, and have children and start building this life together, you really need to look into who you're marrying, what their family is like. And before you make that, you know, don't the idea of I'm just going to know you for about 2 months, we're going to date, or be intended and get married and not really know what you're getting into is very important. And you need to know what are you willing to handle.
Yeah, and I have to, and I appreciate that. So we're gonna end this here because we're a little bit over time with your segment. But subhanAllah, I really appreciate this dialogue because it speaks to a greater issue, which is mindset. I mean, you guys, mashallah, are at a point. You guys have an institute, mashallah, tabarakallah. It's more than just a business. It's an endeavor that offers sustainability for a community. You know what I mean? Like, this is part of the Fardul Kifaya. You guys are fulfilling a communal obligation through the business that you're structuring. So may Allah elevate and bless you guys. And so, but that takes an elevated mindset to get there. But we're still at the place where we're trying to figure out who doing what. And if I could, sell this on the side of the road and I'm not doing nothing, or I'm not helping him and he better do, then I'm wondering, are we going to move the needle as it relates to rebuilding our economic structure? Because it will require sacrifices on both sides.
And I think that, one of the things that's missing is that the key word is compatibility.
Yeah.
As my wife mentioned, every marriage, every relationship is different. So you may have, like, I know a brother who was locked up and he ended up marrying a lawyer, and that was like really weird to me. Like, how can you be locked up and be pulling a lawyer, but there was compatibility in that relationship. I might not have been able to understand it, but there was compatibility. Yeah. So that's the thing when it comes to finances, is that there has to be financial compatibility. And it has to be roles. So, this person plays this role, that person plays this role. As long as there's compatibility, then there's always kind of hope that the marriage can work out.
SubhanAllah. Jazakallah khairan. Thank you for being here. My dear Malika, if we could drop Mecca Institute's tag, can we just really quickly let people know when they go to this website, how they can support you guys?
So the best way to support us, we do have an active GoFundMe going on to help us to build out our building. So if you just go to GoFundMe and type in Mecca Institute, you can find it that way. We're on Instagram, Mecca_Institute. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn. So probably our two most popular pages are Instagram and Facebook.
And also, so one of the things I think, I'm not going to be long, Sabria. No. So we did, when the pandemic started, we started a virtual school. And like I said, we do things that's we're able to use for ourselves. And, we was homeschooling. We're both professional educators. We're certified through the state. We've taught overseas. We've taught adults. We've taught children. And so we decided to start this virtual school, for people who during the pandemic didn't like what the public schools were offering. But we do have an online K through 12 public school. We're going through the process of getting accredited through Cognia. And so, for those people who are looking for, that type of service, that is something that we are offering. We have some really great teachers. We do some really great project-based learning activities with the kids. And it's not just virtual. We have extracurricular activities that the kids get to see each other on the weekends.
SubhanAllah. Okay, SubhanAllah. So again, another call to action. Please make sure you go and support. SubhanAllah, even if you can't put your kids in a virtual school, which I encourage you to look into that and to do that, go ahead and support the GoFundMe. Offer, some contribution tonight. Go and do that tonight. Because a lot of times if we don't do it right now, when we think about it, we don't end up doing it. So go ahead and support the Institute, support what they're doing. Again, they are taking on the responsibility that we all have on our shoulders. We all have a communal obligation to offer education for the next generation. So they are taking on that load for us. They're taking that responsibility off of some of our shoulders when we're when we're asked about this on the day of Yom Qiyamah. So for that reason and that reason alone, you should support the endeavor. May Allah bless both of you guys, inshallah. I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Thank you for a robust dialogue. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Woo! Oh my gosh. I'm sorry to the next couple. I know I'm so sorry, y'all. I get distracted when certain things are said. I appreciate the audience for holding me down with my trigger faces. I was trying, but I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what's going on in these streets. All right, subhanAllah. All right, let's go ahead and bring up our next dope, amazing couple. Hey,
hi, Sabria.
How you doing? How are you guys doing?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, good. I'm so sorry about the delay. I know you
No,
heard what
it
was
was
going
a
on,
good
Kendra.
topic. I don't blame you. We
You
were
heard what was
over here
going
eating it
on?
up too and laughing at the comments. It was too
Girl.
good. I love Rochelle. They
No,
are hilarious. They're doing
mashallah.
amazing work. So real dope gems that Tariq dropped on us.
Yeah,
So
for
I don't
real.
mind.
Okay, let me go ahead and introduce this amazing couple that I have right here with us. This amazing sister who I've had the privilege of knowing for several years. She is an e-commerce supply chain specialist. And our dear brother, he is a human design engineering consultant. You know, they do big things. Don't even know what that is. They have an unexpected HBCU love story starting from the Tuskegee University 14 years ago. Since the beginning, they were often reminded that their love was a display of representation and the beauty of the design of Islam's boundless construct around partnership. Their purpose continues to evolve as they nurture their children to grow in love with their faith as their Hyderabadi and African American Muslim born Americans. If they had to define their ultimate purpose of their union, it was to be an example of how Islam expands the list of potential partners once you go beyond the comfort of your culture, race, and nationality. They want to represent why removing these boundaries impacts the Muslim communities and family dynamics. I wanted to officially welcome Sister Kendra and Brother Muhammad to the Dope Muslim Woman podcast.
So happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys for being here. SubhanAllah. So you guys, do represent, a unique, you guys have an intercultural union, right? But it started at a HBCU. So can we start there? First of all, Brother Muhammad, what was you doing over there? What happened? What was going Tell me the story.
So my father has actually been working at Tuskegee University since the early 70s. So he's actually about to turn 82 this year, still working there. Coming up on 50 years working at that HBCU. So he started off as a professor, moved up to a dean. Currently, he's the vice president for research and sponsored programs. So that's what led me to Tuskegee. When I was in high school, I actually did an early graduation program. So I started taking classes at Tuskegee while I was in high school and liked it and stuck around for a while. And that's how we met. So I actually knew her mother several years before I met her, because growing up in high school, I would do summer programs and work study programs at the university. And her mom was responsible for cutting paychecks. So she works in accounts payable. Our parents, my dad and her mom have known each other for 20 plus years. So, I had met her mom when I was still in high school and then happened to meet her on Facebook years later. And the following semester, we actually had classes together. So that's when we met in person on campus.
Wow. So what was that meeting like, Kendra? What happened?
The story goes, so he saw me in the distance and I was a mutual friend and he made a couple of comments about my outfit. And he was like, "Oh no, man, she's really cool. She's really dope." I was super flamboyant at the time. I probably had on some like Jordans and some booty shorts. I was out here, I was doing my thing. So he was like, "No, she's real cool. She's real dope. You should get to know her." And then from there, he's like, "Okay, I'll hit her up." So before there were DMs, there was Facebook messages. And next thing I know, I'm getting a friend request and asking to get to know me. And I really didn't pay attention until we had a class together. And that's when I started to notice him, and we ended up having orientation together, then moved on and this is Tuskegee, right? So it's a really small campus. Our parents both work there. Then the word started circulating that, we were being seen together a lot. And we ended up growing to really like each other and hanging out with him. He was giving dawah to a friend. I started learning more about Islam, and it just kind of blossomed for there. It was kind of a unintentional friendship, but it was something that was in the making the whole time, really. And we didn't realize that until after we started to, get to know each other better.
SubhanAllah. So you guys have a business together. I want to make sure I get this right. It is a tech-driven fulfilling company, or am I getting that wrong? Tell me about the business that you guys own.
So we actually help scale e-commerce brands. I am a supply chain management specialist specifically for e-commerce brands, and he's a human engineer designer. And that goes from anything from production to how things are used. I have the pizzazz and the personality, and I love helping and aiding businesses and brands and solutions. And he has all this wonderful brain power to get the technical details right. So we basically formed our strengths together to help consult, manage, and scale businesses efficiently and effectively. So it's very new as far as the official partnership, but we've been doing a couple of projects in the background, and we finally got into a position comfortable enough to like come out to the world with what we've been able to help some brands accomplish.
Wow, subhanAllah. So you guys always had complementary, in a sense, positions or careers, but now you decided to merge them together. Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly.
What went into that decision?
Well, success. I started out, I was working for a tech fulfillment company and reaching out to these many entrepreneurs. I made it my business to reach out to people of color because I was working for a great company and I wanted to help them, wanted to learn how they were currently doing things. And the common denominator between all of those is just a lack of knowledge, a lack of what's being done by the bigger companies, the lack of know-how to do things smarter. So I would, offer to help them outside of the prospecting side. And we bumped into a couple of entrepreneurs that had some specific challenges. I chimed him in on those issues, whether it was designing a concept or bringing a concept to market. We were able to successfully do that, but we really did it like as pro bono, just to see, is this something that we can do? And we realized that there are a lot of small online businesses that aren't coming into fruition as they should because they just aren't doing smart enough, or maybe they just don't have the expertise. They're really good at making body butters. They're really good at health and wellness. They're really good at making these products, but now they're coming to the point where they need to scale. And it's like, how do we do that? How do we run our numbers? How do we effectively build healthy work cultures? Because I've never had to manage a team of people before. Am I divvying out my work and my labor properly? So it really depends on what type of business and what type of expertise the person has. We just kind of chime in and help point them in the right direction. And if need be, we can get very specialized or specific with the solutions that they need.
SubhanAllah. Woo, that's powerful. It's really powerful.
We love it. We love a good challenge, and we love to see people of color businesses grow because it's very important to our community. So we feel like we're doing something impactful, and we're also tapping into expertise that a lot of people of color really aren't getting into as well on a professional level.
MashaAllah. So I wanted to ask a few questions. First one I wanted to ask is, because you're an intercultural marriage, I wanted to know, what challenges have you experienced or faced as it relates to being in an intercultural marriage and a relationship? What have you heard or had to deal with from the Black community versus is it Hyderabadi? Am I saying that right? Hyderabadi community. What challenges have you had to endure?
Honestly, I'm one of the rare where our story is kind of rare. We had an actual pleasant union. In the beginning, it was kind of rough because you have the typical stereotypes from my family. They were just kind of weary of what men from this culture expect in a wife, and was I going to be able to achieve my dreams, because they just automatically knew like, you're only going to be a housewife and things of this nature. You're not going to be able to really pursue what your talents and what you want to do. For his side, I think specifically for his mom, she was just really looking to connect with someone from her culture, which I totally get, understand, and respect. Someone that speaks the language, because he's the baby boy, and I guess that was like her last hope, because everyone else had interracial marriages as well. His older sister and his older brother had an interracial marriage as well. So she was really looking forward to that. But hey.
Did you have a preference for African American women, or it was just about Kendra?
Yeah, I did.
And his mom didn't know that.
Tell the truth, right?
His mom didn't know that. Matter of fact, there's a story. My uncle, because he grew up on campus just like me, a Tuskegee baby. Our parents worked on campus, so we grew up on campus. my uncle observed him and my cousin checking the girls out walking by on campus, and he was like, yeah, he gonna marry a Black girl, but he didn't know it was gonna be his niece. So like everything just came full circle. So yeah.
Wow. SubhanAllah. So I'm wondering, well, we do have a question really quick about your business. Sister Betsy said, do companies need to be making X amount of sales before accessing your services?
No.
Okay.
No. If you just have a concept, you have an idea, let's explore that. Let's unbox that and see what the potential is. You know, if it's a device, if it's whatever, we do a thorough diagnostics first of what your idea is. If you have a brand already and it's really struggling, let's get down to the bottom of what you need to get to the goal that you want to meet. And if you are scaling and you have a really successful business, but you're looking to go international, let's explore what your supply chain is to look like in order for you to accomplish that in a cost-efficient way. So different levels, different ideas, different thoughts, you know, and if it's something outside of our box, we try to get you to someone that could help you a little bit better, because a lot of people have really great ideas, but the execution and the strategy is often what's missing. And everyone isn't a business savvy person. We're all trying to figure it out. But you burn so much time and energy and resources making mistakes. We just kind of want to help reduce those mistakes and reduce those errors as you continue to try to find your groove, find your niche, and get on your way. So thank you for that question. Great question.
Beautiful. Okay, so I wanted to know this, because I mean, we started this conversation a little bit with Tariq and Rochelle, but we're talking about just sort of the struggles or the challenges that we're facing as a community. You know, as we know, as Black people here, you know, we have the circumstance where we were sort of targeted economically. Even when we began to rebuild post-slavery, our economic structures, it was, you know, we were targeted, we were attacked. And more importantly, our mindsets were attacked. There were structures put in place to break down the Black family unit, to impact our economic, you know, structure. Because if you break down the husband and the wife, or the man and the woman coming together, then you definitely break down economics. You guys work in the field where you actually target, you know, companies that you said people of color. So I'm wondering, what are some of the mindset issues that you believe as it relates to entrepreneurship, as it relates to like really stepping out there, rebuilding an economic structure? What are some of the mindset issues that you feel like we as a people need to navigate? What are you seeing out there?
The number one thing is you can't do it all. You have to
asking for help.
You have to ask for help.
Yeah.
You have to outsource some things. We go into a business thinking that we're going to handle everything from A to Z, and it's just not feasible. And I think we often burn out before we really get going. Or we start focusing on things that really aren't essential to growing a healthy brand that's attractive for retail placement, for wholesale, positioning to be able to handle wholesale contracts and distributor contracts. We have to really think outside the box at what we're good at, what we need help with, and owning that, and finding the best way to approach that. But that's the number one mindset. Just get out of the I have to do everything myself. And hustling hard is like this badge of honor as well, especially in our community. Staying up late nights, packing all these orders. And we praise it because we love to see someone working hard for their dreams. And there's nothing more that we want to do than to support someone working hard out there for their dreams. But you also have to think about, is it scalable? Is this business, can I continue to do this for the next 12 years? I think that's a mindset we kind of have to grow out of. Outsourcing and not doing everything yourself. It's just not feasible for the long term.
Beautiful advice. Sister Betsy said a lot of communities were targeted economically and definitely requires a special kind of female to deal with the aftermath of the results in men. What say you as in relationship to that? And Brother Tariq was talking a little bit about, you know, how there are some mindsets as it relates to being willing to rebuild economically amongst Black men, and the expectation as it relates to Black women and having to endure that. Or what do you feel is required as a woman? Kendra, I'm asking you this, to help support, and this is just a general advice, right? This may not be your particular situation, but what is required for Black women in order to help support There are men as it relates to entrepreneurship, as it relates to rebuilding economically. Like, what say you in regards to this?
I think the main thing for the role as a woman is to just, how can I best say this? I think it's important to I don't want to say know your place, because that's not what I mean by know your place, but depending on your strengths and your skills and how you can best be an accessory, that's what we need to focus on, and allow your men to lead their vision and you bringing in what he's not good at. For example, like I've known he's been talented for a long time, and it took me to really push him to build that website and start consulting and getting some independent contracts instead of working, your butt off for all the companies that you work for. You can do this on the side, side hustle, do a couple of hours for a couple of businesses. But he didn't see himself in that position to do that. But after showing him how other consultants are doing it, I was able to encourage him to push that vision forward and to maximize his talents. And then I'm like, I'm gonna use you too. So, just knowing what your specialty is and assisting him with that strength, that's the best way for you guys to become a dynamic duo and to push the whole vision forward.
It's just like what makes a marriage successful. I mean, a woman and a man complement each other. So I think when it's a business partnership, it's the same thing. Women are naturally good at certain things. They're good at building relationships. They're good at identifying patterns and habits. And those are things that men may not be as good at, just generally speaking. I think identifying what strengths and weaknesses each have and complementing one another is what makes us strong and powerful. So I think that's business, marriage, any type of relationship.
So do you feel like, did it take a lot for you to be inclined to her advice? Did you have to really see it, what she was suggesting before leaning into what she thought you should, or what she thought you should lean into, which was consulting? Did it, or did you just really just go right forward?
So I actually started my career consulting, but that was consulting for a firm.
Right.
And then I left consulting about 5 or 6 years ago and just started working for companies. And she was encouraging me to do it on my own. I knew I could consult. I had done it for years. It wasn't about me knowing that I could do it. It was if I wanted to do it. Because I already knew what all consulting required. I already knew, the travel, the hours, the managing clients and relationships. I already had seen all of that. So it wasn't as much as her telling me I could do it, but I guess motivating me to do it. And my independent consulting really took off when she started bringing business in, and she started gaining momentum and putting me on projects, and I started helping her, and that kind of built that momentum for that part of the business for me.
SubhanAllah. Wow. Yeah, so I'm hearing a lot of that alignment piece is really vital, and just being, like you said, that complement and some support to each other's vision, to each other's purpose, and moving and forging forward in that direction. So I wanted us to debunk a couple myths. There's some dialogue going on in the comments because I think people are still kind of going back and forth as it relates to the mindset as far as economics. But I did want to go ahead and see if we can get your perspective. So again, I'm going to make a statement. You're going to say whether you agree or disagree and offer some context to it, inshallah. So most Black marriages, or most marriages, tend to fail due to financial challenges and lack of vision and direction.
I want to say true.
Okay.
Financial stress is something else, especially in the Black community. Like, we're already fighting to keep your head above water, and then add financial stress on top of that, add nurturing a marriage on top of that. The vision is necessary in order for you to be financially successful, right? Like, what are you going after if you don't have a vision? So if you're already stressing financially, you're probably not in a position to work the best jobs or to go after
your entrepreneurial endeavors because you're already financially strained, or maybe you're going after your entrepreneurial endeavors and you're financially strained and your partner doesn't agree that's where your focus should be right now. So neither one of you are aligned on what the current priority is, and it snaps, it breaks. And unfortunately, just considering the lack of wealth and knowledge and know-how in the Black community as far as entrepreneurship goes, we don't have a lot of friends and family that own businesses. Like, we're really out here trying to figure everything out on our own, which is why we thought it was important to do this work, because we can give you direct to the point answers. And a lot of people just don't have that available. So if you have a vision and you're already financially strained, if you're not aligned on struggling through it or getting to that next step, then it's not going to last. It's not going to last.
SubhanAllah.
I think that's true.
Okay. So I wanted to ask this statement again, and I'm going to start, if I can start with you, Brother Muhammad. In order for, and now in current times, in order for a household to be economically successful, especially one that doesn't come from generational wealth, both the husband and the wife need to contribute financially.
I would say it depends. It depends on what type of lifestyle you want to live. We've seen families with 7, 8, 9, 10 children and modest incomes, and they make it work and they're happy. Other families, desire a different type of lifestyle. I think in this day and age, it's very difficult to run a family household and live at the level of Western comfort on one income. It's very difficult. Even 1 6-figure income, it's not enough to live a traditional lifestyle. Now, if you live a frugal lifestyle and find happiness in the simple things, then you may be able to do it. So I think times are changing. Not necessarily the roles of each gender, but it's hard. It's hard to do off one income.
Families want more. They want to give their children more. We're putting our kids in private school.
Yeah, I mean, $2,000 a month for tuition for Islamic school. I mean, it's hard. So I think the couple has to align on what their expectations for lifestyle is, how they're going to manage their finances, and then make that decision if one income is enough or if you need two. But even in a one income family, I think both parties play a role there. So even if I'm the breadwinner, I mean, she's still my support system. She's still holding things down here while I'm out there doing what I need to do. So I don't even look at it like one person is a breadwinner and one's not. If it's a one income household, the one that's not earning is supporting the other one and supplementing where they can't be present. So I think my answer would be, it depends on the family, it depends on their goals, it depends on their lifestyle and their outlook.
SubhanAllah. I appreciate that. That was really a very balanced answer. Jazakallah khairan. I wanted to just take a moment to honor your business. Do we have the, okay. So we want to go ahead and make sure that people know. I know a couple people were interested, because a lot of people listening in are entrepreneurs or are in that realm. So tell us a little bit about where we can find you and what people can obtain from you if they reach out, Kendra.
Yes, you can hit my IG handle, hype me up Kendra. I do a lot of influential things. I do a lot of dawah on TikTok. I know that might sound cheesy, but it's crazy how much information travels. But we're working on the website. Like I said, we're very new, like coming out to the world. So you guys are first to see us like come out publicly doing this. I have some success stories for you guys. If you guys hit me up in my DMs right now until I have a formal website. I'll be happy to help and assist you guys and hear your ideas out and get some money in your pockets. We're ready.
Inshallah. Well, tabarakallah. Thank you guys both for coming on the show, the platform, sharing your wisdom and your insight. And I'm hoping that with people like you, which is so vital. I mean, because many of us, like you said, have ideas. We want to be entrepreneurs. We want to create. Like, we have the amazing couple on the Browndages. We got Mecca Institute. But we need people like you that are there to help us bring it all, like you said, scale and bring it all into fruition and things like that. We need people that understand are the challenges that we face as a people culturally. And so I really want to encourage you guys to reach out. I really want to encourage you guys to explore, hit up, like I said, pick Kendra and Brother Muhammad's brain as it relates to this. I think they said something so vital, is that a lot of us think we could do it on our own. And some of that comes from a mindset of this idea, like I said, is this survival. It only can be only one of us, and that comes from slavery, where it was, kind of like the chosen ones in the master's house in a sense. Yeah. And so we don't necessarily have the structure like other cultures. They create a link, a chain to all get to the same place, right? You all contribute and help with everybody building generational wealth. And sometimes we think we're just going to do it on our own because we got to be the ones to make it.
And that's going to happen like this.
Right. And this couple here is telling you don't have to do that. They're here to help you to make it sustainable. So I want you to reach out and make sure you support them and pass the word about what they are doing, inshallah ta'ala. So Jazakallah khairan again. Thank you so much for coming on. Allah bless you guys. I miss the kids. Make sure you give them a hug for me.
You're doing amazing work, Bria. I've been watching you grow. MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
Thank you so much.
So honored.
Thank you. And hug the kids from all of us, inshallah. Have a good night. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum.
All right, you guys. Well, that is it. Thank you so much for tuning into the Dope Muslim Woman podcast. Thank you for being here. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for the dialogue. I will continue one of these aspects of this conversation on the live. So stay tuned for that, because we didn't delve deep enough into this comment about economics and finances. We have one more episode on our mini series coming up next week. I will launch and drop that title very soon. But after that, we are going into the Rebuild podcast series. And in that, we are starting the hypersexualization, the impact of the hypersexualization of our culture. We're doing a mini series on that. So we're going to attack porn. We're going to attack masturbation. We're going to attack over-sexualization of Black women, the impact of plastic surgery culture. We are going to attack all of that, and we're going to unravel that and make it normalize being able to call out dysfunctional sexual deviant behavior here on the platform. Jazakallah khairan. I hope to see you guys soon. Assalamu alaikum.